Alright everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to start a 5-part series talking about 5 mistakes you should stop making when writing blueprints. These 5 mistakes correspond to the 5 solid principles of object-oriented programming, and I want to give you a bad and good example for each of them, starting with the single responsibility principle. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you'll know when it's time for the D. The single responsibility principle says that each class, which is synonymous with blueprint, should only ever have one reason to change. Let me explain with some examples, starting with a bad one. Here I am in the third-person template, the third-person character in the third-person template, and I added some HP and damage handling. So I'm using the any damage event. Any damage you get, I subtract from my current health. That's a variable I added. And if it's less than or equal to 0, well, I ragdoll, I die. And I have a debug key that deals a bunch of damage. This looks like this, right? I hit 1 on the keyboard and Quinn dies. Great. So what's wrong with this? Why is this bad? It gives the third-person character blueprint another responsibility. It has another reason to change. So if I want to add handling for different damage types, like fire damage versus cold damage, I would have to change this blueprint, which does other things as well, right? Most of what it does is it handles the input. And now it also handles the health. And now, using the magic of version control and video editing, let me show you what a good example looks like. It looks like this, where there's no health handling in the third-person character blueprint. I left the debug key here just because. And the any damage event moved to the health component, the actor component that I created. And it's here, and it looks like this, which you may notice is exactly what we had in the character blueprint, except that here I go to the owner to get the any damage event, and I cast back to a character when I want to do a ragdoll. So why is this better than what we had earlier? First of all, this is a component that has one responsibility. It takes care of the health, and any changes to the health system only happen inside this blueprint and would not affect any other blueprint. So it would always be easy for me to find. There's always a single source of truth of how the system behaves, and it would be very easy to maintain and change over time. Another advantage is that now other things in my game can have health as well, and not just my character. For example, what if I want to have a door that I can break? Well, that door would have HP, and when it takes damage and runs out of health, the door would break, the door would die. So following this principle makes my code more reusable. However, even if I didn't plan to reuse my health logic, if I have nothing in my game that needs health other than my character, I would still advise you to do this because of the other benefit. So another recommendation I can give you is that writing your blueprint logic as if you are going to reuse it, even if you're not going to actually reuse it, will make it more maintainable over time. It's going to be more flexible, and it's going to be easier for you to introduce changes even months into development. Staying on the door example for just a bit longer, those of you with a keen eye would notice that the way this is now, would not work for a door breaking, because a door would not be a character, and it would not make sense for the door to ragdoll. So you would need something else instead of this to come off of this branch. Probably some kind of interface that has a handle death method, and then anything that can die would implement that die method. And for the character, it would be to ragdoll, and for the door, it would be to break. As a matter of fact, this bit of logic right here violates another principle we'll talk about in a different video. So let me know in the comments if you figure out which one it is. And that's it for this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you next time.